Animal Crossing New Horizons is just the gift that just keeps on giving. Now, despite everything I'm going to bring up in this video, I want to say ahead of time that for the most part, or at least up until now, I've been relatively pleased with the way Nintendo and the developers have handled this game. And that's honestly something I can't really say for pretty much any other Nintendo IP these days. I'm sure a lot of people could probably agree with me. So yeah, I'm sure you guys get where I'm coming from when I say that. If you guys enjoy the video ahead of time, or enjoy Animal Crossing content for that matter in general, please be sure to drop a sub. It shows me that people are interested and gives me even more of a reason to start making more Animal Crossing related content here on this channel, which is something I've been meaning to do for a while. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's jump into this joint. So, Animal Crossing Switch, before it was officially announced as Animal Crossing New Horizons, was announced during a pretty lengthy Nintendo Direct back in September of 2018. Honestly, I think this was this the last Direct that we got? No. I think the last Direct that we got was 2019, but man, that 2018 Direct was something else. It really did have something for absolutely everybody. So, it was teased, and the title was originally slated to arrive sometime during 2019, most likely during the holiday, but we all saw later on during E3 of 2019 that the game would ultimately receive a delay into the first quarter of 2020, March 20th to be exact. Now, it was pretty apparent at the time of the game's official reveal why exactly the game had to be delayed. Like, dude, if you just had to look at the trailer, just look even remotely closely at the trailer that they showed us to see the lack of polish in the reveal. There's just no way the game was receiving a 2019 release. I just knew that right off top, and despite every bone in my body desperately wanting it, it was just inevitable. It was honestly inevitable. Delays will be delays. But overall, since I was already prepared for a holiday 2019 release, a couple month wait for March 20th wasn't really all that bad. I was excited, I was ready, I was freaking hype. Finally, what I could only dream to be the Animal Crossing Ultimate of this generation was finally on its way. Yeah, but then the New Horizons Direct dropped, and pretty much every single fear or concern I had regarding the game deep down inside, a lot of my most desired Animal Crossing features and mechanics, present and past games, were to be missing from this one, at least at launch. Honestly, looking back though, it wasn't all that big of a deal. I was for once optimistic, I had hope, and overall I was pretty content with the game's updates throughout the duration of 2020. I figured at some point we get all of the missing items and all the furniture and features and whatnot that were present in past games, but it wasn't until recently, or even more specifically until the final update of 2020, where I've just very slightly began to worry. So fast forward real quick to today. At the time of throwing together this mess of a video that this is probably going to be, Nintendo has formally revealed that the January update for New Horizons is pretty much about what I expected, but minus a couple additions that I honestly swear to God really thought had a shot at being added in this update. Since it's winter, I really assumed that Brewster and the cafe would make its way in. I also heard people talking about the pretty high chance of ceiling furniture for your house, and villager visits also being added in, just because those were sort of the most recent things I think to come out of the last data mine before Nintendo started hiding stuff in the code. But since I plan on dropping this video before all that new stuff comes out in February, I may as well quickly go over everything in this update. So off the top of my head, we'll be getting the festival update, obviously, along with Pav. I've always called him Pav, but it's Pave, I believe. I think it's Pave. But yeah, if you played any of the past two Animal Crossing games, you probably already know what to expect. It's pretty much the exact same event for the most part. We'll also be getting items in spirit of Valentine's Day, Groundhog's Day, Setsuban in Japan, what I guess I can call game day. I don't think it has an official name in New Horizons, but it's essentially the Super Bowl, like, you know, just football celebration, since here in the US, like, February is usually when the Super Bowl takes place. And then I think I also saw something regarding Lunar New Year. I believe there are Korean and Japanese. There's like a Korean and Japanese item for Lunar New Year, I think. I think that's what those are for. Lunar New Year is in February also, so I'm pretty sure that's what those are for. But yeah, don't quote me on that exactly, but I saw the images somewhere. But as far as personal highlights go for the update, we're getting some new dancing reactions. We can finally chuck beans from a box again. If you guys remember the bean throwing item from New Leaf, yeah, that's coming back. And also megaphones are coming back too. I don't know how exactly they'll work. There's no mic on the Switch, so yeah, if you were hoping you could probably call your villagers to do the thing, it's not gonna happen. I'm pretty sure it'll work a certain way, or it'll just have some weird, like, cute little animation. But yeah, I mean, at least we're getting some returning items. So yeah, there's some cool little stuff packed in the update, but honestly, a bit too little for me to consider it a major update, which I believe this is what, like, they're kind of titling these are supposed to be major updates. They do smaller, like, little bug error tweaks and stuff throughout, you know, throughout the months, but, like, these are the major updates. But yeah, so you're probably thinking, dude, like, we get another update in March. Why are you complaining? What do you mean too little? Yeah, it's true. We get a March update. It's the Mario update. I'm expecting it to drop sometime before March 10th, since that's Mario Day. But nonetheless, there is a chance that there will be some major additions that could sneak in that update as well. But as of now, I don't really know what to think. A lot of people are also feeling like it's just going to be Mario items, and I get it. Like, it's the 35th freaking anniversary of Super Mario. I'm pretty sure they want a whole entire freaking update dedicated to nothing but Mario stuff, which is cool. I'm cool with that. But I mean, if they're gonna give us like 5 or 6 items, like 5 or 6 Mario items, not even the full collection of Mario items that we had in past games, it's like, what? Why are we getting these watered down updates? But anyway, I'll touch on that later. In general, with March coming around, we're also coming up on the 1-year anniversary of New Horizons. And, you know, while Mario items are dope, like I said, I'd really hate for the 1-year anniversary of the game to be celebrated with solely Mario items instead of actual missing mechanics and characters that we've all been dying for. Like, we already know that Nintendo is finally bringing the Sanrio amiibo cards to the West, or pretty much to the rest of the world, in March as well. They announced that recently, along with the update, which could possibly point to them eventually adding in the new villagers, or not new villagers, I guess, but, you know, the Sanrio villagers or their furniture or something at some point into the game. Which would be a step in the right direction, but I feel like at this point, for a lot of people who are day one players of New Horizons, is just not enough. I don't know if that'll be enough. It's honestly hard to say. But like I mentioned earlier, up until now, I've personally been pretty content with the updates for the most part. It just seems like from launch and for the rest of 2020, the developers, like, their main focus was just solely on adding new. For the most part, I don't want to say solely, but for the most part, their main focus has been just adding new, like, brand new variations of items into the game, rather than just, like, straight up returning ones from previous entries, as well as adding in all of the major holiday events as well. That was like their 2020 roadmap that we saw in the Direct. Like, you guys remember, they were like, oh yeah, there'll be free updates coming, you know, throughout the rest of the year, and it showed Jingle, showed Jack, showed Franklin, showed Pave. So that was kind of like, honestly, that was kind of like their roadmap. Like, we kind of knew what to expect with that. Like, when we could expect updates with those icons and whatnot. But what about 2021? We're in 2021 now. It's a brand new year. I mean, based on this recent reveal for February's update, it's honestly really hard to not be worried about the future of this game going into this year. while yes, I do still consider the festival update to be, it's still essentially part of the 2020 roadmap, so maybe my expectations shouldn't be that high, or shouldn't have been that high for the update. Theming the next update based off of Mario solely during the game's 1 year anniversary month, for that matter, just leaves me a bit uneasy. Like, I suppose it's the overall lack of direction that gets me, just because, you know, last year we had a pretty good idea when new updates would drop, just based on looking at which holidays we're going to be adding to the game. But this time around, we don't have that. We don't really have anything to go off of at all. Part of me also knows I'm just going to be, like, freaking panicking. I'm going to freak out if the March update, when we get the trailer for the March update, if it doesn't end with that traditional also tease into what we can expect the next update, you know, to be along with an icon or a character or whatever, just hinting at what's going to be debuting or returning. But, you know, it's also really possible that that might be exactly what, you know, they have in store. You never know. Like, it could be also, and then freaking Brewster's face is going to appear for the April update or something. Who knows, honestly. Honestly, since I've been pretty content with most things regarding this game up until recently, I've always been like, I don't want to say look down at people who are complaining about the current state, who are always like in a constant state of panic, but I don't know, dude. Up until the recent like update reveal, just it made me realize just how many people are just upset with this game's like current state, as well as just how many people who have no idea like why so many people are complaining. It's actually funny if you look at some of the comments, like whenever Nintendo like or you know, the official Animal Crossing Twitter, whenever they post something regarding new content, like the amount of people who are just like freaking out, and then the amount of people who are commenting like, why are you complaining, blah blah, this is great. It's just like, you guys must really be new here, huh? I mean, it's fine, it's whatever, but it's actually funny just to see like the duality within the community. It gets me every time. But I mean, you know, I don't really mind that people are complaining. Like I said, like, I understand why now. Like, I'm starting to get that same worry. But, like, don't get it twisted. Like, New Horizons is not a bad game by any means. Like, dude, this game continues to top sales charts over and over again, week after week. I think it fell to, like, number 4 on some chart, like, last week or 2 weeks ago. But I mean, it's still going strong, and despite missing so many features, I can honestly say that it feels like the definitive Animal Crossing experience, just simply due to the game's like, just all the game-changing mechanics that they added, like all the new stuff that they added. I feel like it was just perfection. That like the new stuff, I would keep, if I had to choose between keeping the new stuff and or you know, losing the new stuff and getting back all of the old stuff, I would probably just keep the new stuff. Like, yeah, it would probably feel like such a it does feel like such a bare bones end game experience, because you're still missing all of that older content that kind of just kept you playing in past games during the end game. But like, all of the new stuff is so game changing, is so amazing. It's just like, I don't want to ever see that go anywhere. But at the same time, you know, I can't honestly say that it feels like a complete experience, if that makes any sense. Like, we're just missing too many past features and functions for it to feel any greater than that. I would say definitive, but not complete. Does that make any sense? But I mean, yeah, like with all of the data mine leaks and stuff that have come out, like both before and after the game was officially released, actually, like a part of me has always been at rest, like since jump, because I always know that plenty more stuff is on the way for this game. Even if like half the things in the data mine have actually been scrapped, that still leads like a good chunk of content that will eventually make its way. Like, but the problem is pacing, right? Like, pacing has never been something Nintendo has been like good at DLC wise, in my opinion. Like, I feel like their pacing and releasing content in a timely manner is absolutely god awful. Like, it's absolutely god awful. Even with a game like Smash Ultimate, which, you know, it makes sense because it takes time to develop the characters, but good god, man, they haven't released like any other new content for the game, like, at all. Like, they stop adding new features to the online mode pretty much. It's just like there's so much more they can do, but like, instead of giving us like other content outside of characters, they just continue to keep us waiting for like 6-month periods for the 6-month periods before a new freaking character drops. And it's like, it's such a dry spell. Like, we have to wait that long to even get balance updates, which I guess is okay, but man, like, their pacing, I swear, dude, it's just so bad. But I mean, going into 2021, like, we at least know for sure now that New Horizons is going to be supported and updated for the next 2 to 3 years. That's according to the now current president of Nintendo of America, Doug Bowser. The man also stated we'd be seeing regular updates for the game, just like in 2020. I don't really know like what that's supposed to mean when he said that. I guess, like, I don't know if he meant like they're going to keep the same update formula and schedule, or if they're just going to continue regularly updating the game. That could literally mean anything for Nintendo, because their pacing is so bad. They can consider 2 updates a year regularly updating the game. That's how twisted and strange and just deranged their minds are. I really don't know what to expect with them. But I mean, at least there will be updates, so there's hope. I mean, geez, for all we know, the March update could be the last update of 2021. You never know. But, you know, the quality and quantity of the updates, like, whatever we get throughout 2021, the quality and quantity of the updates are gonna be what makes or breaks the situation, honestly. Like, for example, right, if we receive one returning feature or mechanic each update every 1 or 2 months, yeah, like every 1 or 2 months, like what they've been doing, or whatever, or however they decide to do it this year. If we can get a new mechanic or 2, or feature, new returning feature or mechanic or 2 every single update for the rest of the year, and if they stay somewhat similar to the update schedule that they did last year, we could easily be on New Leaf content levels by the end of the year. Like, we could probably have everything, or at least all of the main mechanics and stuff that New Leaf had by the end of the year, easily. But that's like in terms of like features and mechanics, not items. Like, I think New Leaf has, I'm probably wrong when I say this, but the last time I checked, which was last year, like early last year, New Leaf had almost double the items that New Horizons has. I believe it has almost double the items, and I'm talking about like furniture. It has like almost double the amount of items. Like, New Leaf had like 2K or something, and New Horizons had 1K at the time. Obviously, we've gotten more since then, but we're still definitely not on par with New Leaf. I don't think. There's just no way. There's just no way. But at the same time, you know, they could do that and, you know, give us, you know, a returning feature or mechanic every single update, or they could just give us a dirty treatment that they've been doing now and just, you know, continue to receive less than substantial updates every other month or 2 throughout the rest of the year. That's also a possibility. You know, they could just be like, here, you guys, take these dozens or so new items, or returning items, whatever, here or there, and we'll just ultimately be left with the same stale state that we're in now. It's just, I really don't know what to think. Honestly, dude, like, it depresses me to a certain degree just to see, like, you know, all of Nintendo's latest IP iterations on the Switch just be given like that Ultimate Edition treatment, or to be like, I'd rather be like the biggest game within their franchise. Like, for example, like Breath of the Wild is without a doubt the largest, most expansive, like most ambitious Zelda game we've ever gotten. Super Mario Odyssey is hands down the most largest, ambitious, just greatest Mario game we've ever gotten. Same thing goes for Smash, and I want to say the same thing for Pokemon as well, even though it's not technically a Nintendo game. It's, you know, it's big in the sense that, you know, it's on console. Like, I guess the world is, I can't even say the world is bigger, but they've done some ambitious things with Sword and Shield. But if anything, it feels like New Horizons is just getting the Sword and Shield treatment, which is, it just freaking sucks. It really sucks. While all of Nintendo's other first party IPs on the Switch are literally getting like the biggest iterations, the biggest entries they've ever gotten, and like Animal Crossing fans are getting freaking shafted, and we've waited like the longest for a new like iteration. We've waited the longest for a new entry into the franchise. It's just crazy that all these other games are getting their biggest entries yet, but New Horizons is like literally still trailing behind New Leaf, a freaking last gen handheld game, dude. A freaking last gen handheld game with more items and mechanics and main characters. I honestly just can't believe it. Anyway, I feel like I've been ranting for too freaking long. I don't want to end this video on a sour note. I hate to end this off on a sour note, but damn, dude, I don't know how else to close this out. Honestly, I really don't. Like, I gotta make it clear, like, I've always had a love-hate relationship with Nintendo over the years. Like, when I was younger, I used to have I honestly used to be like the biggest Nintendo stan. I really was. And this was like before being constantly disappointed by them over and over again. But in all of that disappointment, despite all that disappointment, over all the years, like, Animal Crossing has always been the franchise I felt like they got right with each and every single iteration, each and every single entry. It's just gotten better over time. It's never gotten worse. It's always gotten better, like development wise, content wise, feature wise. It's always gotten better. Now, obviously, I feel like the online experience for the game has just gotten worse, just because, you know, the age we live in, like, people aren't as social on online games anymore. So like that social aspect that I've always played for is just, it's not really there like it used to be anymore. It's definitely not there like it used to be anymore. It's still there, but it's just not the same. It'll never be the same ever again. But honestly, very rarely have I ever felt like they were taking away from the franchise. They've always been giving to it. Every single new entry, it's always received more and more as time went on. It, like I said before, it's always been the gift that just keeps on giving, in a sense, or kept on giving, I guess you could say. But now part of me feels like Nintendo is just like, there's just like single-handedly, Animal Crossing, I should say, is like single-handedly one of the last few good things that I like about Nintendo. It's just, man, dude, it really just hurts to think about it. Like, it feels like it feels like they honestly just approach this game with like a really lazy and or controlling outlook. Like, they want to pace us accordingly, but they've never been good at that, or with anything with anything regarding to pacing, for that matter. And it's like, and even with all the pacing, the amount of work put into these updates, to most people is seen as mediocre at best. Like I said, I've been okay with the updates up until this point, but like now, like, my vision is clearing. My vision is clearing. The delusion is fading. I see what people have been like complaining about from jump. And it's like, it's irritating, because like we all know that they're capable of so much more. So like, why doesn't this freaking company just show it, dude? My gripe with Japanese game developers and companies, it just continues to grow over the years, because I'm being shown over and over again just how stubborn they really can be. And like, when it comes to Nintendo, I'm willing to chalk up a lot of the lack of progress on New Horizons, like especially during 2020 up to COVID, like, as it's essentially delayed pretty much everything on a global scale. Like, a lot of games got delays last year. And, you know, they made it pretty clear that some things had the chance of being pushed back quite a bit because of COVID. And, you know, that might be why we didn't get all that much new, like, content for the game last year. That could be why. Maybe that was the reason. I doubt it, because, like I said, we got that roadmap in February for that first direct. But, I mean, there is a chance that maybe they wanted to do more, but COVID sort of prevented them from being able to do that. But I mean, at this point, as I look at all these other game developers and all these other gaming companies hitting deadlines for their games, still pushing out content despite an ongoing pandemic, I'm honestly just still forced to believe that at the core, Nintendo has just become so far distant from what they once were, dude. And you can really see that directly in New Horizons. I know a lot of people would like to be like, oh, Pokemon, that's the game you should look at, but like, Nintendo's not Pokemon. Pokemon's not Nintendo. That's a Game Freak. Like, Game Freak has definitely gotten worse. That's for sure. But like, we can't really blame that on Nintendo. We can't really blame Pokemon's faults on Nintendo. It's not really their doing. But I mean, yeah, that's honestly just kind of how I'm feeling anyway. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this very long-winded rant. It's been a while since I've done a rant video. Like, it's actually been a good while. But when it comes to Animal Crossing, I'm gonna do my best to continue making New Horizons related content throughout the year. Whether it's just more rant videos like this or covering latest news, I might do island tours. I feel like island tours are so dated now. I've always wanted to do some of those and post them on YouTube, but like, I don't know. I feel like nobody's doing those anymore, and people are kind of just bored. It'd be better if we had tons of new items and new buildings and stuff. It would make visiting towns more fresh, but I don't know. There really isn't a reason for me, though, to not be making some sort of content for my all-time favorite video game franchise. So, like, I probably should do it. It only makes sense. So, yeah, you guys can let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this discussion. Let me know what type of AC content you'd like to see. And, yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can whip up. Don't have the production value of like a lot of these other big AC tubers or a lot of the big AC tubers that you guys probably watch, but I can do my best. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and again, subscribe and hit that bell so you keep up to date with all my latest videos. Until next time, y'all keep on gaming. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. My poetry's never felt